there's only one thing to take away from today's podcast. We hope that it is just a deeper understanding of the partnership that Richard and I have, and really the mission that we have at the Holistic Coach Training Institute. And we would love for you to be a part of that mission. We can't do this business without partners like you or allies like you, whether that's you participating in the coach certification or if that's you sharing the coach certification. We absolutely appreciate you for being in our orbit, and we are very grateful for you passing along any information to someone who might be looking for a coach certification. Thank you so much again for listening. We can't wait to be with you again and share some more insights. Many blessings to you, and remember that Holistic Coach Legacy is a path, not a destination. Thank you. Welcome, Richard. So great to have you here today on the podcast.
Awesome. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I know we talked about you coming onto the podcast more regularly, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I guess I'm most curious, how come you wanted to talk about this topic first and foremost, this topic of, partners in love and business, and really how we manage being life and business partners?
Yeah, I think, first and foremost, it's just really important to me to have a healthy and happy relationship with you. That's a big, major priority in my personal life. So it's an interesting topic for me to always dive into, whether it's our relationship or other people's relationships. But in addition to that, it's just something that comes up a lot of times in conversations. People are very curious to know, how is it working, with your wife full time, especially since you guys work together from home and spend so much time together. So I think it's just, it's just interesting that that's sometimes the first question that comes forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm happy we get to explore this today and we get to share some of our journey. The truth is, we always had the intention that you would step into the business full time, and we were already in the works around that. So how about you share the story of how you stepped into the business full time?
Yes. So I think what you brought up is so important and true that, going back many, many years ago, we planted that seed of intention that one day we would be, working together and working on a common goal and really building our lives together. I remember we had created a 5-year plan at one point when we first got together. Already we're thinking in that direction. So I think first and foremost, it's just been a long-term goal, a long-term intention, and we've really slowly and steadily, naturally kind of worked towards that over so many years, or at least had that as a goal in the back of our minds. But as that's kind of unfolded and life has happened, it really led to us having the opportunity to do so. So pre-pandemic, I was just working on the business part-time, kind of behind the scenes, helping out, as I had been doing for many years. And it came about that my employer basically approached the whole team, and we were asked to take a very significant salary reduction due to the pandemic. And so when we sat down and really looked at, just the numbers of that, it really just didn't make sense for me to continue to be employed there, given that situation. And at the same time, it was just seeming together so beautifully with the fact that we had been working so diligently on setting the business up so that I could step into the position full time and start helping. Which was something that I had communicated to that employer as well before even taking the job. Mm-hmm. So it's really life just kind of happened, and the tragedy of the pandemic came about, but we were really able to take that opportunity and make it work for us the best way possible.
Yeah, well put. You're reminding me that we really did have this intention for a long time. So I think that is important for people to hear. this is not just something that was decided on a whim, and this is something we've been working towards for a long time. I would say I I probably had the most challenge with thinking about you coming onto the business full time, and here's why. And you know this because we've talked about it. At that point, my business was still a one-on-one coaching business, and it didn't really make sense to me to have you on at that point. I think the big shift that happened during COVID for us is that we were then starting a new brand, the Holistic Coach Training Institute. We were starting to do the coach certification programs for people. And, you had always, like you said, been behind the scenes helping with the website and, being like a guide and a mentor to me in a sense, somebody I could always check in with and talk things through with and getting your feedback. But it really made sense once we pivoted into this new brand. Then it was no longer just my recovery life management brand, which kind of felt like my baby in a sense, right? And then it was like really cool because we then shifted into the Holistic Coach Training brand, which then became like our baby together, right? So I thought that was a really neat shift that happened for us. And then it was like I was able to better see our different lanes, the different lanes that we have within the business. So for you, how has it been, shifting from working for somebody else and now working on your own business and mission?
Yeah, and I appreciate what you shared. I mean, something that we've talked through many times as well together to just kind of, I think that's part of it, right? Is just staying in communication so openly and honestly throughout the years, so that this felt more natural when the opportunity did come about. But for me, really going back, so many years ago, when you were still working in the counseling field, and you came home one day and said that you were interested in doing coaching, and that came on the radar, and that you wanted to do it as your own business. I always, believed in you and believed in your talent and believed in your vision, and really just knew that you had something special to share with the world. And I knew I was experiencing that in our relationship, and I was really excited for other people to get to experience that from you, with something that you actually were creating yourself, not something that you were doing within the container of working for somebody else's mission and vision. So I really believed in the vision that you had, and knew that my role over the next time was going to be to just continue to support you with that, and to stand, behind you and by your side, and to just trust and have faith that one day this was going to grow and expand into something, bigger and bigger, because I just knew you were going to have that kind of impact. So just kind of working behind the scenes, I always knew we didn't know how. Like you said, you were first doing, one-on-one coaching, and it was for yourself. So I think that's the key. Is I didn't really need to know the how it was going to unfold. It was more of an inner knowing that this was going to all lead to something, and that we were going to be doing something together, and something with a common goal and a common mission. So for me, it was actually really, I think, there was always those nerves taking that first step, walking away from a stable job and a stable career, and kind of going out on your own. But I, again, had such faith in you, how you'd been operating the business and the progress you had made over all the years. And I knew that us coming together would only just amplify things and take us to the next level. So really, all in all, even though there was some initial jitters, I knew that what was going on at that job wasn't going to make sense anymore, and that there was limitless possibilities with us stepping in together. And I really, looked at it like, saw it as an adventure and a challenge to say, hey, we're in the middle of this pandemic and this crisis. I just saw that storyline to think to myself, what if we can really step in during this time and really make something for ourselves? And that just felt like something that was very inspiring and something that I wanted to do. And I was up for the challenge at that time. So that quickly, those little jitters quickly turned into passion and excitement. for the opportunity to work with you and to really put our heads together and our energy together to be able to fully invest ourselves into this project together. That really was, it became all excitement. I remember, we were up late and really working diligently to put some of the structure in place those first several weeks to really get things up and running as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was an exciting time, and we were kind of going all in at that point, and it's been an extraordinary year. I'm very proud of what we've built and created, and what I think we're at 61, and it hasn't even been a full year yet, of people that have signed up for the Holistic Coach Certification Program. So that's an awesome number that I'm really proud of. And so I can remember when you came in, probably this is kind of a funny story, or maybe embarrassing for me, I'm not sure. But when you came onto the business full time, I think one of the first things that you said, because I think one of the things that really makes this work is that you are very business oriented. You are, you've been doing sales for a long time and worked in marketing companies. And so that's kind of been your lane. And my lane is much more of, right, I'm the person that has studied a lot and learned a lot and has created the content and loves to facilitate space for people. And so we both have these really cool lanes. So when you came in, you were asking me about a sales pipeline. And I was just like, I don't have one. Right? And so it was kind of an eye-opening experience, but I'm bringing the sales pipeline forward because, the truth is I had been in the business for 5 years and I didn't have a sales pipeline set up. And that was one of the first things that you helped me do those first few weeks. And it has been a game changer for sure for the business, because now we're able to, track the leads, know where the leads are in the sales process, just have better communication with everybody. Before, I was just doing that in my head. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I knew who the people were that I was developing relationships with. And I knew that I was circling back to them, at least once a month. And my way of building the business has always been building relationships. And so just pairing together that natural skill that I have, that I really enjoy, of cultivating good relationships with people, and then now also having that more technical side of the business of having the sales pipeline, it's really changed the business in so many ways. So I just want to thank you for providing that, because that was a really great initial thing that you brought to the business that really changed things and really elevated things. So that was great. And how was that whole experience of initially coming onto the business for you?
Yeah, that was, well, I think you had, to give you a lot of credit, like you said, I had more of the sales background and very business focused, and you were delivering, the direct services and had the clinical background and the coaching experience. So, but with that said, I was always very impressed with just your ability to be aware, to adapt, and to evolve when it came to the business. Because the truth is that you were pioneering and running the coaching business, for the majority on your own, especially to get started. And so I really saw the strides that you made, and have a lot of, you earned a lot of my respect with my business hat on, the way that you just kind of forged ahead and just kept taking action. And I kept seeing the results that you were getting. And that allowed me to really just trust that, you were figuring it out and you were making it happen. So I knew we already had the foundation in place, that we needed, and the right relationships in place. And I just knew that it was time for us to really kind of start to scale things up. So it was just perfect timing. You didn't, like you said, you didn't really need a formal pipeline in place, because you were able to manage all the contacts and relationships that you had. Just basically,
at least I think I was.
Yeah, for the most part, right? for the most part. So yeah, I just think it was the timing of everything. It was just perfect time to implement something like that, to get more organized, because we knew that we were going to be, talking, instead of to dozens of people each month, we were going to be talking to hundreds of people each month. And so I was able to see from my past experiences that we were going to need to get a little bit more systems oriented to just make sure we're keeping track of all that and staying in touch.
Yeah, it was really helpful. So a question that we get a lot is how do we spend so much time together? So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I think it's so fascinating to me, like to start to think about, I wonder where that question is coming from. Like, how do you spend so much time with the person that you love, And so I think that's just, I get curious when people ask me that question. That's the first thing that comes forward. But I love it. I mean, to me, it's just like an amazing opportunity. There's nobody else on this earth that I would rather be spending so much time with, and I'd relish the opportunity to spend as much time with you as possible. So I think just kind of first and foremost, it's looking at, I think the time spent in the business is just a reflection of the time spent in our personal relationship together, in our marriage. And so I think the truth of the matter is that we do blend those things together, right? There's not a firm line. So we're first valuing our love and our relationship together above everything else, including the business. And we work from that place, and that's what really provides us the direction and the compass for moving forward and the decisions that we make.
Yeah, and I also think, as I'm hearing you say all this, is that we have some longer term goals and visions together, and we personally have decided together that the Holistic Coach Training Institute is just a way that we're going to get to that bigger vision that we have for ourselves, right? So I really feel like there's this commitment to co-create together, so that we can co-create a bigger vision that we have together. So that feels really good as well. And I the truth is, we have a lot of similarities. There's we're both, when it comes to human design, we're both projectors. We're both introverted. We're both earth sun signs. So there's
love language.
Same love language, right? We both, quality time is our love language. So not that you have to have tons of similarities to make things work, but personally, I have found it to be very helpful that we do have a lot of common ground, and that has made things work, I think, much easier for us because of those commonalities. What do you think?
Definitely. I think it just really touches on that. Not only are we life partners, but we're also friends. We have, we're companions. We're there. We support each other in all areas of our life. We have common things that we're working towards. We're on the same. We have agreed on those things that we're working towards. So we're, consciously on the same page together. So I think, if any of those things were out of place already, or there was rifts there, then we would see those rifts show up in the business relationship as well.
Right. Yeah.
But since we've really been so conscious in our relationship from the beginning, it's just made it such an easier transition into the business partnership together as well.
Right. Exactly. And I think that really supports us when there is a disagreement. We've always had that commonality and that common bond that our relationship is of top priority compared to everything else. And so we're willing to work through everything in order to make sure that our relationship is at its best, So I think that that's really supported us in resolving any disagreements that we maybe have had. How else do you think that we resolve disagreements that may be important for listeners to hear?
Yeah, I mean, I think what comes to mind first is that we definitely do have clear roles. And I felt, that we both felt in the beginning that it was important to really define sort of the hierarchy, if you will, in the company. And it made the most sense. You have the most education and experience in this field. Therefore, you are the president, and I'm the vice president. And so I think that's important. We are partners in this business, but we're not co-equal managers or we don't have co-equal responsibilities. So the clarity that's really provided is, if there's a stalemate, then you win. And that's for a good reason. It's because you really do. I trust your experience and your wisdom and everything that you've put forward in this space and in this industry has always led to good results, good outcomes, and positive experiences for everyone you've worked with. So I have that inner knowing that if there's a stalemate, it's for a good reason. And I do believe in my heart that you are the one that should be making that final decision. But along the way, as we're communicating about differences, I think, we just carry that same type of relationship and communication style that we have in our personal lives into the business as well, which is that, we allow each other to vocalize our opinions. We give each other space, whether it's just something analytical or if we're really passionate about something and our emotions come out. We do allow each other that space and that opportunity, and we hear each other out. And then I think the other thing that's important is we're able to really, I think, just instinctively know when we're not going to work something out in that moment. So there's a lot of times where we just agree just to kind of let things go and let them go to the back burner it's not urgent that we resolve this decision today. So I think, sometimes whenever there's a difference or a disagreement on a decision, I find that we oftentimes approach the conversation several times, and we approach it from different angles on different days. And then we always end up kind of getting somewhere closer to a shared vision on it as we have those discussions again and again.
Yeah. I as you're talking, I'm thinking about how much I appreciate your perspective can oftentimes be different than mine. I think you are really good at bigger vision, which is interesting because I'm the one that was kind of leading the way with the vision. But I find that you're able to articulate the bigger vision really well. And so it's helpful for me to ask questions when we are trying to figure something out, because I like having that other perspective where I can be bigger vision. But as you know, I'm really good with the details. I'm really good at executing the details. I'm really good at, initiating action. As you were mentioning earlier, I'm really good at moving things forward. Right. So it's really interesting when we do talk about, maybe something within the business that we're creating next. And maybe there's like a difference in like how exactly that should look. But you're right. We do like let it sit and let it be. And we come back to it several times. I think that's something I've learned within entrepreneurship and having a business is you're not going to know everything, and letting go of needing to know in the moment. And so, like you said, giving it some space sometimes then helps the situation become more clear about how we're going to move forward. So yeah, that's definitely how the process goes down.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes if there's things that we have differences of opinions on, that we allow that to evolve into more of a creative process instead of just trying to argue our points. We're actually open to exploring each other's perspectives. And then it usually leads to something sometimes that neither one of us even had in mind.
Right. It's that saying, would you rather be right or would you rather be loving? And I feel like we're both committed to we'd rather be loving than right. And so that really helps in our life partnership, but also our business partnership. For sure. So let me ask you this. What are some strategies that you think that we use to create a good work-life balance?
It's a great question because we do have so much of it kind of blended and seen together on our personal and professional life and lifestyle. So I think probably the biggest thing is that first of all, it goes back to the idea that we really value each other and our relationship over the business. I think that's an important point to just reiterate, that the business is really second to our relationship. Even though the business is high up there on the priority list, it doesn't come before us. And then from that perspective, I think what we do that's very effective is we oftentimes take several breaks throughout the day, and we take those breaks with each other. So on a personal level, those breaks are very helpful to just kind of keep our stress levels low and to allow us to recharge and refocus and get re-inspired throughout the day. And so we often take those breaks either out on a walk at a local park where there's lots of nature and trees, or we spend time with our dogs in the backyard. But we use those opportunities to just reconnect with each other and to just kind of focus ourselves and recenter ourselves and ground ourselves so that we're not just working in silos on the business,
Right.
all day long. We take these, steady breaks throughout the day where we're just able to just be with each other and to enjoy each other's company. And sometimes we might bring up something we're working on, but most of the time we just allow those opportunities to just be, bonding experiences and spending time together. I think that's probably one of the most important ways that we balance this all out.
Yeah, you're so right about that. It has been a really rewarding part of us working together, for me in particular. And, the truth is, and we're transparent about this, we both talk about this on social media, that we both have mental health challenges. You are more on the depression side, and I'm of course more on the anxiety side. And so that is partially also the intention behind, the walks that we do in the morning together or the breaks that we take throughout the day. It's like you said, in order to keep the stress lower and then again, to just be present and not just be focused on work. It's also enjoying life, and that's been a big part of, what has been really enjoyable for me with you coming onto the business is we've done a really great job of doing the business piece and getting that moving forward. And that's been very exciting. But I love that we've been able to also use this to, I think, further our relationship and take better care of ourselves, which is another important piece of this, is that we have to be taking good care and managing on those 4 levels of the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. And I really appreciate how we've been doing that together.
Absolutely. I really, think that, like, when you shared that, what came forward is that so many people, when the word business comes to mind, they're just thinking push, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. But the reality is that the more time we take and the better care we take of our mental health and well-being, as well as our physical health and well-being, and really that holistic approach that we talk about, really taking care of our whole self, and support each other in doing so, be a good support system for each other and taking care of ourselves, then the better we actually do perform in the business with less stress. So I think that that's just a winning formula.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you can think of that is on your heart to share around this particular topic of us working together?
I think just to kind of close things out, I think what's important, something that we didn't touch on, is that we both share the common vision of wanting to create something powerful and meaningful and impactful in the world. So it's really that ripple effect that we discussed with the Holistic Coach Training Institute, where we're really able to help people to be the best helpers that they can be. And as we touched on briefly, we're really passionate about, especially people evolving themselves consciously, but also taking care of themselves, especially when it comes to their mental health and well-being. Yeah. So I'm so thankful for coaching, and I believe that coaching is just such a powerful tool for
Yeah.
people to be able to use. So I really think just us sharing that common mission together and really bringing that hard work ethic, but also a sense of integrity to everything we're doing and having everyone's best interest in mind.
Yes.
And really bringing a sense of compassion and love to everybody's life that we touch through the Institute,
Yeah.
I think is something that just makes this project even more meaningful.
Absolutely. And I really think that it speaks to the legacy piece that is our intention behind this podcast, and is also our intention behind, like you said, the work that we're doing into this world. My philosophy is definitely that it starts with me, it starts with you. And my hope is that my life has been the demonstration of that, working through challenges in life, and yet getting to a place where I have really resolved a lot of things within my own consciousness. And now I can truly be of healthy service to others. And so I'm always trying to demonstrate that and talk about that with, my coaches and all of the people that come to me that are just service oriented and helpers at heart, so that, there's that holistic way of being. Like, we're taking good care of ourselves and we're helping other people take good care of themselves.
Yes.
So Richard, how might somebody get in contact with you?
So if anybody would like to get in contact with me, they can certainly visit holisticcoachtraininginstitute.com and check out all of our information on that website. Or I can be emailed directly at info, that's INFO, at holisticcoachtraininginstitute.com.
And just so the listeners know, how are you working with people at this time?
So there's several ways to work with me / us in certain ways. The first thing is that if you're interested in coach training, certainly check out the Holistic Coach Certification Program on the website. And then coming up here shortly, soon to be released, will be the Conscious Devotion Program for singles, for couples, and professionals, which is really going to be a coaching program all about helping people reestablish connection and establish conscious communication and a conscious relationship with each other for all relationships and all aspects of their lives. And then also for anybody in the holistic space that's interested in expanding their business in a conscious way, there also is opportunities for conscious business consulting with me as well.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on today. I know that we are going to have you on, regularly to talk about sales and marketing and all the beautiful things that you're working on. I'm so thankful, obviously, to be journeying in this life with you. I love you so much. And I'm really happy that we got to share a little bit of an inside view to our relationship and our business partnership. So thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Love you too, sweetie.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. Thank you. If there's only one thing to take away from today's podcast, we hope that it is just a deeper understanding of the partnership that Richard and I have, and really the mission that we have at the Holistic Coach Training Institute. And we would love for you to be a part of that mission. We can't do this business without partners like you or allies like you, whether that's you participating in the coach certification or if that's you sharing the coach certification. We absolutely appreciate you for being in our orbit, and we are very grateful for you passing along any information to someone who might be looking for a coach certification. Thank you so much again for listening. We can't wait to be with you again and share some more insights. Many blessings to you, and remember that Holistic Coach Legacy is a path, not a destination. Thank you.